All right, guys, so again, in the Felco booth, we're here with Aaron Kellum. Aaron is actually the president at Felco, among other things. He's also the lead of research and development. He's a perfect person to talk about this particular prototype, which, Aaron, remind me what you guys are calling it. It's a pretty long name.
It's a 3-in-1 vibratory compaction roller.
Your compaction drum down here with a low-profile tamp design. You've got a vibratory plate on the back, and obviously you can do static compaction, or you can do this drum in tandem with a vibratory compaction. So that's how you get the 3-in-1. Now, Aaron, we were talking about this attachment a little bit ago. Its kind of main competitor is going to be a trench compactor. Take us through why having this attachment on the excavator, do you guys think this is a better solution rather than kind of like a remotely driven trench compactor?
So trench compactors, they have their place. They work very well. They're very prolific in the industry.
Right.
But there's never been an alternative to them, which is kind of was the genesis of this idea here for this product.
Sure.
What we came up with was a solution for a need where you probably have an excavator on the job site, and you could use this on the excavator rather than having to have a second piece of equipment. And plus, it's not driven by a diesel motor, it's driven by the excavator's hydraulic energy source. So
Right.
it's got a hydraulic vibratory compactor in there, which is driven off of the machine's hydraulic system. We've got travel limiters here so you don't overstretch your isolator pads. That's your most expensive wear item there. And then we have our sealed journal bearing axle system here down below to add the durability there, which is as durable as you're going to find in the industry for a compaction wheel. We feel this product can be an alternative to that trench roller product at a more cost-effective position and a more reliable, long-term, lower maintenance cost option.
And for the operator, right? I mean, like, excavator operation is all about feel, right? It's all about that connection with the attachment, with the ground. This definitely returns, in terms of this application and the compaction, it definitely returns that feel back to the operator. But the kind of like problem with putting the attachment on the machine that you and I were talking about earlier is that sometimes you know guys that are used to just doing kind of vibration, maybe they throw this attachment on the machine and they press down too hard and you're not getting any vibration. You mentioned this limiter. How does that limiter kind of make sure that there's not too much downward force being applied into the drum?
Excellent question. We do two things here. With the combination of our mounting beam here and the travel limiter that you can see here, that allows you to go just under half the diameter of these isolator pads, which is what the manufacturers recommend. So you can push that down, it'll stretch, but you won't stretch it too far and prematurely wear those isolator pads, and those are $250 a piece or more. So if you tear those up, you're talking about $1,000 to repair them, plus downtime on your equipment.
The other thing that we kind of talked about before here was this low-profile tamp design. Obviously, this is quite a bit of a different than the kind of the standard tamp design and kind of layout. Why did you guys kind of go with this on this drum and rather than the standard kind of layout?
Our standard wheel compactors have about a 4-inch tamping pad height.
Yeah.
And they work very, very well, but they do kind of chew up that top layer of soil where you're compacting. This product gets used in more of I would call it a finish situation where you want to have a finish grade on your compaction. It allows you to have bite on the soil to roll while not putting too much of an indentation in the top as you're rolling along. So that's why we came up with that.
One of the things that we were talking about earlier on the wheel compactor was that kind of tool's capability to be attached to a tilt rotator. I thought that was interesting. Our conversation earlier about kind of like the physics problems around kind of putting one of these attachments onto a tilt rotator, and it mostly has to do with kind of like the fact that this is hydraulically driven, right? So what is kind of like the physics problem that at this point anyway, it's kind of like a problem to solve in the future that would kind of keep this attachment from right now being compatible with use on a tilt rotator?
Tilt rotators, with the hydraulic connections that they have and all of the different routings that you have with that line, they build back pressure.
Yeah.
And what we've found in our testing is that back pressure is about 3 times higher than what the shaft seals are on the vibratory unit itself. So obviously they don't last very long, they blow, you end up with your system being down, your motor might be bad, you might have to replace bearings, it just doesn't work.
Right.
The solution for that is a case drain, but a case drain, you have to have a excavator that's plumbed for a case drain, and then also if you do a case drain as it's designed intends, running it right back to the tank,
right,
you lose all of your mobility that you get with a tilt rotator. So
yeah,
We haven't quite overcome that problem yet.
We did mention that this was 3-in-1. You can do static compaction, vibratory to the drum compaction, but then you've also got a plate on the back of this thing.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty flexible in terms of kind of the things that it can maneuver around.
When we were prototyping it, we were kind of using it as a kickstand, right? Just to have it here so you could grab it.
Yeah, sure.
Right? It'd be easy. Okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
But then they started using it to actually compact. I'm like, well, heck, we better make something out of that. And then furthermore, we were watching them use it in the field for our prototype testing, and they were running up against like utility lines that were coming vertically up out of the soil.
Sure.
And what they would do is they would tilt that up to that plate compactor, and they'd compact right up next to that utility line coming up with the plate compactor, and they could get in a very tight area with a much lower risk than you would with a standard rolling operation.
I do want to finish up on maintenance here in just a second, but I think that, you know, obviously when you come to a show like this and you get to kind of be around tools like this, with this machine here being launched and everything, it's just kind of cool to get to come and see some of these tools that you know, when you put it on the machine for the first time, the operator immediately starts, their brain starts to tick around all the things that they're going to be able to do with this thing now and how it's going to save them time. So very, very cool design and idea around this in terms of returning that control to the operator rather than have him kind of remotely controlling a different device. Take us through kind of some of the big maintenance keys to this attachment.
The big maintenance keys. With any of our products, make sure you don't have any leaks. If you have a leak, something went wrong.
Right.
We don't do daily maintenance in how we build things. We like to keep you as an operator as efficient as possible, spend less time in the cab working instead of working on the tool itself before you can work.
Right.
So we have our steel journal bearing axle here. You don't have to grease it daily. It's got a 5-year warranty. Change the oil once a year. It's standard 30-weight oil. You're good to go.
Wow.
The vibratory compactors, you have to replace the isolator pads when they wear out.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't wear those out. I mean, we hear a year or two on those usually, and that's about it. Past that, unless you like have a valve go misfunction on you, there's not much you have to do with these things. You just plug them in and off you go.
Cool.